From child brides to chain makers, from teen moms to trailblazers, from silence after rape to speeches that shake nations, from forgotten names to forces of history. She rolls beyond trauma, past mistakes, and everything meant to break her. This is the Beyond Her Odds Show. Real stories that inspire you to rise, to heal, to lead. Because if she did, so can you.
You can call me RKD. I'm your host on this journey where we share raw and honest stories of women who have gone beyond their odds. But they didn't let life defeat them. These women have done everything possible to rise because, like they say, they tried to bury us, but they didn't know that we are seeds. Now, if this is your first time tuning in, this show is about real stories from real women who have overcome things like abuse, gone through early marriages that didn't work, but really they've come out of it and now they're using their pain, turning it into power, and then helping other people to rise, especially girls. We bring you these stories every week from now to the end of August on Beyond the Us Show. It's brought to you by Beyond the Classroom Foundation and proudly supported by the Ignite Project through Beyond Her Odds initiative. So last week we had an unforgettable experience. It was a great conversation with Enifome, and she shared her story about how she went from being abused to now helping women live again. And she has the Live Again Foundation where she's helping women to find their voice and also go beyond their odds. And it was really a great conversation, hearing how she healed and how she's doing what she's doing. And so we're really happy to have brought her on the show. And so if you missed that show, don't worry. When it goes live on YouTube, you're going to have to watch that some other time. And so we're here again as usual with yet another guest on the show. I would have said drum rolls, but no. Our guest is Diwang, and her story, just broke my heart. And but I won't have to be the one to tell you the story. I would let her share the story with you. So we're here to inspire other girls who are listening to the show. We're here to tell young girls and parents who are listening, and even adult women who are looking for inspiration, to say, how can you find inspiration from someone else's story? And what can you do with the lessons that they've learned from their story? And then also show us how you have used your lessons to build back yourself up and do what you're doing today. So the one I posted on Instagram, as always, I said you went from being divorced to, being a beacon of light to other people. How did you come out from what you came out from? But before we talk about how, let's find out, what did you really come out from?
Okay. Hi everyone. Raquel has already mentioned my name, so I'll just jump right to it. Okay. I'm looking for which part of the story to start from. I mean, this was like 9 years ago now, so don't tease me. So I mean, I got married. I was 25, and then I got married in 2015, and 7 months later, 6 months pregnant, the person I was married to just woke up and said he was no longer interested in the marriage again. Yeah. I was like, he just said he was no longer interested in marriage again, and it was via text message.
Hold it.
Yeah.
Hold
So
it. Text message.
yes,
Like you got a
just
text, ping, ping,
yeah.
and he read what?
I'm no longer interested in this marriage again. I want to have my peace. I don't want you to kill me.
Wow.
Then he ended with, "This is not a mistake SMS. Like, I know what I'm doing. I'm in the right frame of mind." I was like,
Okay.
yeah. So just in case you guys think you've heard everything, at least I don't know if you've heard anyone's marriage has ended via text message. Tada. You've
Wow.
heard one today.
Wow. Wow.
So yeah, so I got that text and I was 6 months pregnant. Let's not even talk about, what I was dealing with while pregnant. I had something called HG. I don't know if people have, I know a couple of people have heard of it.
Please tell us, for those who haven't heard it.
HG is hyperemesis gravidarum, is extreme pregnancy symptoms. It's crazy. I think a few years ago when I and one of my wife did the research, found out I think 1 in 50 women killed themselves.
Wow.
Yes, it's extreme. I don't know how to describe it to you. It can only be experienced, but it was a terrible thing I went through, while being pregnant. Even the fertility doctor I was seeing at the time, suggested that I take the child out because it was like the child was, I don't know how to describe it, but it was crazy. I threw up the entire 9 months I was pregnant. I'll throw up everything in my system and then I'll start vomiting blood.
Oh God.
Sometimes for 2 days, I wouldn't feel the baby's heartbeat. I'll have to keep going back to the hospital, So in the midst of all that, someone wakes up and says she's no longer interested in marriage again via text message.
Okay.
Because yes, via text message. So it was crazy. I think for the first time I understood what it meant to be in shock. When people say, Jesus, I was shocked. I think we just say it's like I was really shocked because I stood in one place and I could hear my father calling my name, but I couldn't turn.
No.
Yes, like my dad had to come and shake me for me to realize, it's like I now came back to consciousness. And as soon as my dad shook me, tears just ran down my eyes because I got that text message few hours to when I was going back to where we were staying. I wasn't at home actually. I'd left home because, like I said, the HD made me very sick, and then the doctors advised that I go back home and then just stay with people for a while because I got married and moved out of Abuja, and I was staying in another state with him. So I was at home at that time. So the next day I was planning to go back home and then I got that text message. So I was livid. I don't even know how to describe what I went through. That, like, if somebody would tell me that I'll still be alive to even tell the story and laugh about it, I won't believe.
I know, right?
Because I thought that was the worst thing that could ever happen to anybody. As in, after that was rapture for me. Like, let me just die now like this. That's how I was feeling like. It was just a crazy experience, really.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. But then I believe that you didn't just get to that text message because the for I'm hearing this story and I'm like I said, I was really shattered. I was heartbroken to hear that, that you went through such an experience. By the way, you don't look like what you've been through.
Right.
I don't know why all the women that come on this show just don't look like what they've been through. I think it's gonna be a slogan soon on the show. All the women that are here absolutely do not look like what they've been through. And so, but we're grateful that you're here today to share the story, to also, we like to educate and then to inspire, because first people need to be, a lot of young girls need to be educated about certain things. You mentioned being 25, and someone listening to the show will say, well, she was an adult. She was already a 25-year-old. So if it didn't work out, she entered with both eyes open, and all that. I want you to describe to me how they say age is just a number. Was that the case for you? Were you fully mature? You knew what you were doing. You chose this person with your eyes open, and all that, or there were certain things that you saw and you ignored, and then you went ahead to get married to this person, and then you're like 10 years or 9 years down the line, you're like, oh, I think I saw XYZ. I just turned the blind eye or something like that. So take us through that, because I want young people, especially young girls who are listening, to be educated on these things.
So I think it's both for me. I think I was just 25 as per the number. I don't think I was mature enough to have gotten married. Because in all honesty, I think about it now and I think that the only reason I married was because somebody wanted to marry me. That was the only reason, in all honesty. I don't think I was ready to get married. I don't think I was equipped enough to enter into the marriage institution at the time that I did. But because somebody was dating me at that time and, professed his love for me, and I want to believe I loved the person back then. And so I just like, thought the guy wants to marry me, let me just marry him. But I don't think that I thought things through, or I even knew what the marriage institution was all about, and what I was going to encounter. So I wasn't prepared, to be honest. Yeah, maybe I read one or two books on marriages, but it was just like, make I just read them, make it not be like say I don't really understand. But I didn't think that I was fully aware. I didn't think that I understood, what marriage was going to be. Like they say, it's the only school that you graduate from before you enter.
Yes, so you get certificates before.
Exactly.
Yes.
So I think I was more excited to just leave my parents' house, going back. All these parents, they are stressing us, let me just go to my husband's house. At least there now you be the madam. You
Yes.
cook when you feel like cooking. You clean when you feel like cleaning. Like, I don't even know what I was thinking, to be honest. Now thinking about it, it's so funny. So
Okay.
I don't think I was ready. I don't think I was ready in any form, mentally, nothing. I just wanted to leave my parents' house and go. Yeah, maybe somebody might be saying, oh, did you do premarital? I did premarital counseling, but me honestly feel like
Yeah, so
Conversation for another day.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you for saying for another day because of course we should have this conversation again. Maybe not on this show, maybe on another platform. My question would be from what you just said, which is also what part of the questions I have is when you mentioned the fact that you felt like let me just leave my father's house. A lot of young girls have that feeling, where they're in a hurry to leave their parents' house. Like, the comforts. For some people, it's actually very comfortable in their parents' house, but they want more. They want, like you said, be the madam of the house. I'm not addressing young ladies who are listening. You can hear now directly from, someone who, felt like, oh, let me leave this house. Let me actually go and be a madam somewhere else. It's not all that glitters that is gold. And I've not said marriages are bad. No, don't get us wrong. On this show, we actually are not saying that. We're just saying that if you have a comfortable home, your parents care for you, they take care of you, and you have the basic things that you need in life. Please grow up first, right? Be mature, develop as a young person, find yourself, which was going to be my next question to you. Find yourself, know yourself as a young woman before you decide that, oh, I want to go on a journey with somebody else, and all that. Because when you don't, and then you step into this marriage, like she called it institution, it was felt like such a huge thing. Institution felt like an organization in my ear. So like the marriage institution, if you go into it and you get your certificate before you even start your school, you would meet the things that you meet. And for some people, it might not be really what you thought it would be.
Yeah.
And so my next question will now be, how did you manage going through with your child alone? Without, and then you mentioned you had the health condition.
Yeah.
And did you have support from your parents? Did you have a community that came together? Your religious organization, like where you worship? Did people rally around you to support, or were you by yourself?
Maybe both, because I think that because of what I was going through, I just felt like my world was even though people were there, I couldn't even see them. I was I was I hit I don't even know how to describe what I went through, but I was just I grew up in the barracks and I still live in the same place I grew up. So it's like your neighbors are like your family members. They have the right to ask you certain questions. So when I was at what you they do for house, you go to church, you get the same question. Family and friends are asking you, you're just 6 months pregnant. Why? What about you in your father's house? I know you're supposed to be with your husband. Marriage that's just like 7 months. So even though I had people around that were willing to help me through what I was dealing with, my depression, my trauma didn't even allow me see them. I didn't even allow me accept it. But I'm grateful to those that still stuck. Some still, even when I gave attitude, there's, God, my dad suffered that period.
Oh no.
Everybody that was a male gender was just, you were already guilty before you even did anything to me. I would just react in a way, and I'll even be wondering, I became such a bad person. I became so disrespectful. If a male gender just does something to me, if you see the way I'll just react. Even me, like maybe some minutes later, I'll be like, this person, what the person did wasn't as bad as the reaction the person is getting from me. But in all honesty, I'll say my family and friends, God bless them. My family and friends, like they showed up.
And showed out.
Let's not. I don't know how to qualify it. There's no adjective, there's no English word to use. My dad was so supportive. Like he never made me feel like, oh, look at how your life ended now. Maybe you could have just no. I didn't get all that. I didn't get all that. If you had known, Shebina, no. I didn't get that from my parents. I didn't get that from my family. It was support. I gave birth and I was with my parents. So my parents paid my hospital bills, bought clothes for my son. Yes.
So he just left.
He didn't even show up. When I sent him a message, because we're now in different states, and I sent him a message telling him I'd given birth, he replied and told me okay.
No.
Yeah, he replied and told me okay. Then, like I think a week later, he now called me to tell me, congratulations, well done, how is the baby? Then I think 6 months later was the first time I ever got any form of financial support from him, and then he sent me 10,000 naira. I even remember what I bought with it. I bought baby back 7,500, then I paid tithes something. That was what I did.
From the dash money, you paid your tithe.
This thing I go do now. Do you get? But then that was what. So it was a lot for me. I think that people don't even know how painful these kinds of things can be because,
Yes.
like I mentioned, or I talk about it a lot. Even when I'm talking with young people, I tell them that trauma does a number of things on you, and I don't think people know how trauma can just change you. And if you're not careful, you would fall on the other side. You need to use your pain and then use it well, because it took me to a place, and then it just made me realize, aside from family and friends, one of the things that helped me was books. I read a lot. I read a lot. So I was just reading. I think I was just reading, take my mind off what I was dealing with. I was reading a lot of Christian Jesus. There was one time I think in like 1 week, I read like 14 books. I'm not even exaggerating. I was just, my dad even asked me that day, he was like, where's the book I'm writing? I'm like, which book? He was like, with the time you spent reading, I thought you would have written like 3 books already. But yeah, books really helped me. I learned a lot. I feel like that's a shortcut, not to experience certain things, because people write, sometimes they sort of quote some of their experiences in books, and that just helps you as well. So books helped me. I didn't know what to do, so I would just use the last strength I have to just say, God help me. Even in the condition that I was, I'll just say a short word of prayer. A short word of prayer. I feel like that was like the last thread of the hem of Jesus' garment. I was just holding on.
Oh my
Let's not be
God.
that I just left it, but no. Yeah, I think those were some of the things that helped me.
Wow, this is Beyond Her All show, and I've been speaking with Diwang. She's sharing her story about how she went from, being married to being abandoned by her spouse 7 months into marriage, 6 months pregnant, and then she had to go through everything by herself. And why are we sharing these stories? Like I always say on Beyond Her All show, is that there are lessons in every story, especially the stories, aside these stories that we're bringing on the show, there are stories that we want young girls to learn from. And like I said earlier, don't be in a hurry to leave your father's house.
So now, we're going deep into this third phase of our story, which is explaining to us, what did you now do after everything happened? What did you do with all this pain that happened to you? Did you leave your baby with your parents and just disappear? Did you go back to do your masters? Did you get a job? Or you just remained at home and did nothing? I know that you didn't, but but because we did, we won't be sitting on this chair. So tell us, because I want them to hear, so that people understand, especially younger girls, like we always say, that what puts you on the ground should not leave you on the ground. You can use that and come out of it and do something with it. So what did you do with what happened to you?
I think for a while I was down. I won't even lie. I was down for a while. Like I couldn't even bring myself to do anything. I was depressed. That's the word. I was depressed. Like nothing made sense to me. Everything I had an excuse in my head. I was like, why should I even bother? Why am I even stressing myself? Like I mentioned, I thought that was the worst thing that could ever happen to anybody. So I was just, you know, and then my child was there. I'll just look at my child sometimes and start crying. I'll just look at the boy. I'm like, God, I prayed for so many things. So, I tried to take my life. I prayed to God. Yeah, I did though. I prayed to God to even kill the child. Yeah, so like in the midst of what I was dealing with while I was pregnant, because I was like, when this boy grows up and starts asking me what happened, what will I tell him? That's what I was just thinking about. Like, what will I tell this boy? You guys, I was just thinking, like, because my marriage ended for no reason. For lack of a better word. Why did it end? They just said they are no longer interested in marriage again and they want to have their peace. This guy, me, I was a troublesome person. I don't understand. But so in my head, I'm like, when this boy grows up or when this boy is old enough to understand and starts to ask me questions, what do I tell him? Yeah, and up till today, I never really knew, what happened in the marriage. It's officially over. But after a while, I had to tell myself the honest truth. If I continue like this, there's what pain does to you. It makes you look older. It does, I promise. It makes you look older. There are women that when you see them when they were going through a lot and then you see them after they're out of it, you would not recognize a lot of them. Yeah, okay. My friends can testify to what I looked like when I had my son and what I looked like now. I was looking like I'm looking haggard. There was a day my neighbor told me I saw me walking and talking to myself. It was like, I see you did waka. I was like, me. He was like, yes. Do you know if he didn't tell me, I would have said no. I was like, me, I was talking to her. I can't even remember doing that, but obviously I did that, so pain and trauma. So after a while, I started to volunteer. Started to volunteer. A friend of mine, shout out to Tom and Betino, he invited me for a volunteering gig and I went. Then I still volunteering. It had nothing to do with what I went through. Climate action.
Yeah, but volunteering is good, by the way.
Awesome. Yeah. Good. So I started volunteering. And as soon as I did, just realized that this is an avenue to meet people, an avenue to talk to people, an avenue to connect. And from there, I started to read, I started to research, and I even did a course, on gender-based violence with Youth Hall. Yes, I did a course on gender-based violence with Youth Hall. I learned a lot about, different kinds of abuse. And, it just made me realize that somebody can be abused emotionally.
So was that what happened to? Did you now see? Did the course take you back in time?
Yeah.
To now see that even though you felt like it just happened,
Yes.
that there were things that were happening within the last 6 months.
Yes.
Before the text message that happened, that you didn't know that you didn't know.
Yeah. There were things that were happening before the marriage that I didn't even know I was abused. For instance, his ability to just, these people that subtly just manipulate you. I've come to realize that some people can be great friends and terrible husbands.
Yeah.
Yes. Some can even be great dads and terrible husbands. You see them taking care of their children, doing all they need to do for their child. So when they hit their wives and their wives tell you that this is what the husband did, you won't believe them. Because you're like, how can Mr. No, this man that brings his children to Sunday school, that takes care of the children, they will now start saying, no, the wife did something. It's the woman that did something. Yeah. So I think that it now made me realize that, there are different forms of abuse other than sexual and physical, because that's the ones that we project. But a person can be financially abused, a person can be physically abused, a person can be emotionally abused. I even think a person can be spiritually abused. Yeah, by their spouse. When you use the name of God, or you use my pastor say that, or let's do this thing for, even when you know So I think that I was going through other forms of abuse aside, physical. But I didn't see it because I didn't recognize those things as abuse. So those were some of the things those courses that I took, and those volunteering gigs that I took taught me. And so I started to pay more attention, and then I even got a job outside Abuja. With an NGO. So I wasn't in Abuja for a while. I was working with an NGO in the Northeast, and I was just every opportunity that I get to learn about women, to learn about different forms of abuse, I take it, and I do not have a personal platform of my own, but I leverage on people's platforms. Whenever I get the opportunity, for instance, being here on this radio show, I do not live there without, letting people know that, like you mentioned, age is not a reason why you should get married. Being tired of staying in your father's house is not a reason why you should get married. I don't think those are. So being able
to
to
mention younger girls coming, when you meet them and they are in a hurry to Diwang, I want to just marry you. Say, come first.
I'm telling you, I've become like a marriage evangelist. I promise. Like, I'm not going to tell you, no, don't marry this person. No, but I think one of the things I try to do is because of the experience I've had and because of the things that I saw, but I wasn't paying attention to. I try to just, because I've noticed that once two people are in love, there are a lot of things you don't see. Yeah, I think that thing that's, I don't know, but me, I attended a choir church growing up. Those things that the pastors used to say love is blind, marriage will open your eyes. It's true.
Right?
It depends on how you're looking at it, but I think it can be true. Because sometimes you're not paying attention, or you don't even know that those little things can become, bigger issues. When those things that are being done, when you multiply times 1,000, you now realize that I cannot take it anymore. Yeah.
And then from there you didn't just put your career on the back burner. Like, a lot of people will just say, it has happened to me. There's nothing I can do about it. Just put your career on the back burner and do nothing about it. But you took a job, you volunteered, you put yourself out there.
Yeah.
And eventually your career became better because of God with you, and all that. You didn't just wallow in the things that have happened to you. And the part of the story that I really, really like when I spoke to you, I mentioned the fact that every opportunity you get to talk to younger girls who want to marry, it's like you're telling them, open your eyes, shine your eyes. You are telling them to be cautious and to, seek the face of God, develop themselves first. I like that you do that. You don't just say, it's not my business what they go through. You're not allowing, your past to make you afraid to speak to other people and encourage them to take steps towards their own healing and future. So, which is where we're coming to have about your healing. I want to talk about healing because when people are hurt, a lot of times they don't go through that healing process, and so they're still hurt at the people that hurt them. They're still very angry.
I think for a while I thought I was okay. I thought I was okay. I thought I was fine, I was getting by, but um someone looked at me one day and told me, Diwang, you're not okay. You are not okay. I'm like, no, I'm fine. I've gotten past it. It's like, you are not okay. And the person now made me see reasons why I should do therapy. Yeah.
I understand. Okay.
I'm like, no, I'm fine. I'm fine. The person was like, you are not okay. You've seen the way you talk to me. I'm like, no, I've changed it. And I mean, this person is older than me. This person has more experience than me. This person was a behavioral coach, a therapist. So as soon as she mentioned it, I was like, okay, she paid for therapy for me and I never showed up.
Oh, no.
The same thing from, I'm telling you, as I didn't show up, I'm like, no, I'm okay. Second time, person paid for therapy for me and told me, if they're born, you will come.
You say them born you, it sounds like someone I never let's move forward.
Exactly. I'm sure you get the person. That's how I showed up for therapy. And my first therapy session, I was like, Jesus, truly, I was not okay. Like, when the therapy started, I was like, what? No. So have I been living? It just hit me that I wasn't okay. And then I think the therapy was for 10 weeks.
Wow.
Yes, I promise.
That's
10
a entire
weeks.
course.
I didn't miss one day. I always showed up and I was glad that I did. I think what people don't know is, therapy. And I think the reason why I like to talk to people is because someone paid for therapy for me. So I like to pay it forward. I like to pay it forward. I like to, the little that I've gotten from what I was taught, I like to pay it forward. Because whether I like it or not, therapy is expensive anywhere in the world.
Yes.
It's expensive. Even to gather the knowledge to become a therapist, it's a lot of money, spent. So it's not a cheap thing to get, even though it's something that a lot of people need. And then there was something that my therapist made me do. And I think that was one of the game changers for me. She said I should mention 5 things that I learned from my marriage.
You tell us those 5 things later.
She said I mentioned 5 things I learned from my marriage. It took me days, but I think I eventually wrote 4 things. But what it made me understand is that you can still learn something from something that even broke you. There's something to learn from it. There's something to learn to make you better. There's something to learn to make you not make that same mistake again. I don't even think she understood. She told me, and that thing and she told me I should mention 5 things again, that 5 things again I'll do better. I think, yes, moving forward. Said 5 things I'll do better moving forward. And 5 things I learned from marriage. At first, I was just from here, like, I beg, I did not. She was like, no, there are things you learned from marriage. Go and think. And truly, it helped me. So therapy is such a strong.
That was strong.
Yes, it's a very strong tool and it works. I hear a lot of people say, I beg, all this therapy, or people that are planning to get married, or people that are even in a relationship, they don't want to seek counseling. My own is, counseling is a skill that you have to acquire to give. So I believe that if you're looking for counsel, look for counsel with people that are skilled. I always say this, with all due respect, a lot of men of God have turned themselves to counselors. That you're a man of God does not automatically make you a counselor. If you do not have those skills and you think that is something you want to give, I think you should pick courses. There are a lot of, well-renowned professional counselors out there. We have a lot of Nigerian counselors. You can register with them, pick up a course, 1 or 2 courses, so that you can make yourself better and then be able to give that same value to your church members. Because I see a lot of churches when it comes to counseling, especially for marriage, a lot of things are neglected. Yeah. And whether we like it or not, a fraction of the reason why marriages fail, me personally, I put it on the body of Christ as a Christian. Okay. They have their they have a portion of that blame, truly, because there are certain things that were not told to these couples. You're counseling people that have never been married before, and a lot of times all we are bothered about is, are these people having intercourse? Are you born again? Nobody is even asking you, do you have a job? You, the woman, do you have a job? You, the man, do you have a job? I'm not saying you have a job that's paying you $2.9 million. No, but have some source of income, because I believe that finance is a major tool that makes marriage works. So and then you just hear, oh, the guy is born again. Wow, these two people are not involved sexually. Oh my God, that's great. Even when they don't have money. Yes, beyond that, even when they don't have money, the church sometimes will even gather funds together and say, oh yeah, let them marry. When they now get married, who takes care of the responsibilities after that?
That's another angle.
So that's the thing. So if you as a man of God, or if you as a church counselor is not skilled in giving counseling, we'll keep settling for making people that have been married for 30 years or 20 years and above counselors in church.
Yes.
That they've been married for 20 years. Did they tell you that they're happily married? Or they have healthy marriages?
Even trauma, like if I look at it, even dealing with trauma, people don't talk about dealing with trauma before you get into marriage.
Yes.
You're bringing in trauma from your past. The person is bringing in trauma from their past. And people are bringing trauma to come and jam themselves in one house. And that's chaos already.
Your own personal traumas and your own family traumas.
Yes.
You are dragging it into the marriage. I heard someone talk about one time that him and his wife got married, and for 6 months, the door was never locked. But none of them knew. Because the girl from her house is the father that locks the door. The guy from his house is the person that comes in last that locks the door.
Oh, wow.
Do you understand? So they kept, as little as that thing is, it can cause an issue.
They can be robbed.
Do you understand? So both of them had to sit down and say, see, both of us are now married. How do we now, run our own home? Because I think what a lot of people don't even know is a lot of marriages have ended not because of the issue the marriage had. The marriage ended because they were not able to solve the problem.
Sure. And so that's very deep. Therapy, dealing with trauma, talking to qualified counselors and talking to people who have the the knowledge that you need to move forward in this new institution. I want to use that word. I like it. In this marriage institution that you are in, it's very, very critical. So you're young, you're listening, you're in love, you want to get married, you have this person that you love so much and you care about, seek help, seek counseling, there's so many professional counselors right now. I see the flyers and I see some of them that I know that they've been trained by other professionals and they can actually train you. So we're not saying don't get counsel in your local assembly. We're just saying you can seek more that will help you deal with these issues and going forward. So now we're coming to the last lap of the show. We're not going to the advice session. Go like now. I want her to talk to young girls directly who are listening, to talk to parents. So you can take them in different sessions. So you can start with, if you're a parent, what do you think parents can do better based on your situation? I know you mentioned your parents were amazing, they supported you, and all that. But if anything that parents can do better to support their daughters and create an enabling environment that doesn't allow them to say, it's time for me to go, I'm done with this house and disappear. And also you already talked about our local assemblies, our religious organizations, what they can do better. So thank you for already doing that. So the parents, and then for community, what can you say about communities, helping? There's this thing about people who are divorced, community, there's a way that the church see you. You can't even you can't get position in church.
Yes.
You can't.
Yes.
I know. I used to be there. You can't, because so what do you have to say about that? And then talk directly now to the younger girls that are listening to the show.
There's something that my therapist said a lot. She said you cannot move forward by looking backwards. You cannot move forward by looking backwards. I think a lot of people do not even know that. You see what you can do with your pain, you have no idea. The problem is on the other side is the beauty, and not so many people are willing to. You are in so much pain and in so much trauma. You might not want to cross to the other side and just see the beauty of what you can do with that painful experience. I think I'll start with parents, because for me personally, I always say it I think I say it like 1 million times every week. That's whatever a person turns out to be, it's as a result of how he grew up, where he grew up, the kinds of values that were taught to you as a child. There are things that happened to you when you were 6 that you still remember. You would even remember what you were wearing that day. My brother mentioned something about somebody that hit him when he was maybe 6 or 7, and every time he says that man, the man just annoys him. And my brother is 20, 22. So that tells you something. So I think as parents, we need to do better. We need to be intentional. As parents, we need to do better. We need to be intentional. A lot of times you leave your jobs for nobody to do, for lack of a better word. You just assume that it will just happen. You beat a child for something that you didn't teach the child to do. How do you expect the child to know what to do and to learn? So if you don't teach children, they would never know what you want them to do. You just need beating. Are you not supposed to know how to wear your shirt? How am I supposed to know how to wear my shirt when you didn't teach me how to wear my shirt? So I think as parents, we need to be intentional. We need to do better. Children are all different. Look for the best and possible learning skills for each child. And just whatever it is, the least you can do is let your child grow in love. You don't need to have all the money in the world to show your child that you love the child. As my dad would always say, every child was in heaven. You are the person that brought the child to this world. So that child, you are 100% responsible for that child. So I think parents need to do better, because we can now see that because parents didn't do their jobs properly. I mean, nobody should crucify me for this my statements, but because of that, we're seeing what children are doing now.
Yeah.
When they go and carry somebody's child that the mother has finished training, and then, like I tell some people, if this person was not your son, if this person was not your brother, will you even be able to marry this person? But then you are looking for perfect, good, awesome girl or awesome boy to marry this your daughter that even you cannot live with.
Life.
Yeah, and as for us, young girls, be very, first of all, know who you are. I think that's one question a lot of people find very difficult to answer. But if you know who you are, it will be one of the greatest things for you to have done in your life. It will help you so much when making decisions, be it a life partner, be it career. If you even meet somebody in the course of finding who you are, but because you know who you are, you know where you're going to, you now know that, oh, this person, I cannot go with this person because this person is going to Osun State and me, I'm going to Niger Republic. You know that both of you are going two separate ways. But if you don't even know who you are, you don't even know what you want, you cannot be able to tell, who you even want to be with. Because whether we like it or not, when you marry the right person, that person will help you fulfill purpose.
Yeah.
So I think as young girls, know who you are, know where you're going to, know what you want to do, plan your life before you even meet this person. So that when you now meet somebody, you now know, oh, okay, yeah, this person is now like the yin to my yang, and then the person can balance you.
Yeah, so I want to also talk to you. So we know where we say you have actually done our Go Beyond session by just talking to the young girls now. And so if you're young and you're listening, you're a young girl, she has said it all. Know who you are. Find yourself. We're saying find yourself. It's easier to remain or have a healthier relationship with someone. For some people don't believe in marriage, but I'm not here to discuss it, but they believe in having partners. So it's okay. That is the person's path. So for those who have, some people actually have healthy relationships and good relationship with their partners, and that's because they've actually have found themselves and they know who they are. So it was easy for them to say, this person can go with me on this journey. Thank you so much for them. But you missed out on telling us about community.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned about the fact that the church, would not. So what would you say about that? Do you think it's something that you should do? Do you think it's something that is right? Do you think, what advice would you have for anybody in that situation that feels like they are left out, they're unable to kind of integrate in their local assembly because of this the challenge that they have?
It's sort of like a difficult advice to give because each denominations have their rules and regulations. But I think personally, one of the things I learned from my stories, I've learned not to judge people. A lot of people deal with different things, and you have even if it's the person's fault, the person is dealing with their own share of pain as well, even though they will never come out to admit it, or you would never see them. But then I think people should be given some sort of
grace.
should be given some sort of grace, because why do you call yourself a Christian body and then people do certain things and that's how you detach them, you segregate them. Like for the kinds of denominations that we attend, the Orthodox Church, they will tell you to stop taking Holy Communion. Even they would you would step down if you are holding any position or some sort of, and it depends on the state that you are in. Some of these churches, even your parents would pay for your own sins.
Wow.
Like by stepping down as being,
time.
as being deacons or elders or something. I think some sort of grace should be given, because
certain things happen for certain reasons, right? And yeah, grace should just be given.
Gives to
I
anybody.
think, yes, I think they should at least, reduce the judgments. If they cannot stop, reduce it small.
Oh wow. Thank you so much, Diwang. This has been a very wholesome conversation. I believe that we've learned a lot from your story, and we're really thankful for coming on the show and sharing the story and just being vulnerable and letting us into your space, and also for educating us and also for inspiring the girls that I've heard the show. Like I say, Beyond Her Art show is not just about sharing stories. We want to also pick out lessons from these stories, find out how can you use the stories in your life. So if you're a young person, especially young girls who and you're listening to this show, please hear me. The person that you marry, which is what we talked about on the show here, the person that you marry will shape the direction of your life. It's not could, it's not a can, it's will. So don't rush it. Don't enter marriage because you are pressured, because everyone in your circle is getting married, then you have to marry, or because you've hit 25 and you've told yourself when you're in GS1 that you are going to marry before you turn 25, you have all your children before you are 30, and then you retire at 35. I know that some people even in this on the show here in this room are doing like these, are dancing because that's what they are planning. Don't, please, only choose someone who sees your worth. And we also said here to parents who are listening, we're saying please model healthy love at home. Stop raising daughters to just be wives. Raise your daughters to be wholesome people in the community. Once again, thank you so much, Diwang, for coming on the show and sharing your heart with us. We'll be back again next week with another powerful story of rising beyond our odds for young people. If you're a woman in Abuja who has a story like this and would like us to join, and would like to join us on the show to share your story, please reach out to us. Go on Instagram and search for Beyond Her Odds. That's Beyond and HERODDS, Beyond Her Odds. And just send us a DM. We'll be right there. If you have other thoughts, you have questions, don't forget our Instagram handle is open for you. We'd love to hear from you. Just drop us a DM or a message and we would respond. My name is Raquel and this is Beyond Her Odds Show. Thank you so much for listening and see you next week.